the situation today, and Mark has pointed it out, we have more debt than we ever did in history. We have the weirdest valuations in history. And we have the zero interest rate policy doesn't work. And another thing that people don't realize is that zero interest rate policy seemed to create some cosmetic growth, but it created a lot of inequality. And now people are talking about inequality. Who made money? Those people you see out there in the restaurants in Miami overpaying for microscopic sushi. You can see it on a plate. So all these people, the people who made money, it created inequality because we had an asset-based inflation. All these years, assets were inflating like crazy. It's like a tumor, I think, is the best explanation, because that's typically what happened to organisms. You're happy with the growth, it's uncontrolled growth, and then boom. Let's go back and figure out what has happened last 15 years. I see many young people here, and I'm sure those who don't have gray hair or are not, haven't lost their hair, those who want to hide it, don't know what interest rates are. So let's start from the beginning. Now let's start with Finance 101. Okay, Finance 101 is what is happiness equals positive cash flow. All right. So, but that notion disappeared mysteriously in 2008. So let's go back. What happened then? What happened then in 2008 is right after Universal was formed, and on an excellent 2007-2008 market collapse. So for us, it's a good memory. I mean, good memory in the sense that it was financially good, but in New York City, you could see in faces that things were not good. And then the Federal Reserve somehow, extremely amateurishly, decided that lowering rate to zero would fix the problem. So they put interest rates at close to zero, effectively at zero. Sometimes, interest rates really were negative, as in many places, including Europe. I know because I had an account in Europe. Interest rates at zero are not proven to be more effective than interest rates at 3%. But guess what? Once you put them at zero, it's very hard to raise them. What did interest rates at zero bring? Tumors. Okay. What is a tumor? It's an organism that grows without control because it's uncontrolled. There's no mechanism to bring it back to what it should be. You have Bitcoin, but you also have something called real estate. Real estate, you go, you buy a house, and then someone else bids higher for your house, and then you feel rich and you go and spend the money. And then someone else bids higher for your house, and then you borrow against. So there's something called interest rate at zero and something called real estate that created illusory wealth of over $100 trillion. So what happened? They fixed an economic problem, naming too much debt in 2007, with what? With more debt. They fixed an economic problem with a monetary solution, which is supposed to be a short-term thing. So people invoke Keynes. Keynes himself understood that it was a temporary measure. Most deficits, and even those who understood monetary policy, it's not meant to be a structural correction. Structural correction would have been to turn debt into equity, but the old-fashioned way. You go bankrupt, then you have new owners, and then history continues. And that's life, like nature. So the problem is a lot of people have bad habits. So let me ask you, you've been at Bloomberg now for a decade, more than a decade. All the people you've met belong to that category of interest rate naive people. What I think is happening now is, well, I don't know if you know, about bleeding, experience. I'm sure you haven't because you're alive, people here, but usually when people start bleeding, they lose blood at period T+1. They have less blood at T+1 than did at period T. You see, and so now we have a phase of bleeding. What is bleeding? Means earning less than 4.75%, because that's where short-term interest rates are. So if you're earning less than, say, about 5%, you're losing money. You have to borrow money, you got to pay 5% plus whatever risk premium, if you can find someone foolish enough to lend you. Right. So that discount rate now is between 4 and 6%. So think about what we're facing now. That's called bleeding. Because if you're not making that, you're not making money. Not only you have to make money, but you're gonna make more than that discount rate. The second problem, this was a lot worse, is that people think that the Fed, having raised rates, has engaged in a temporary measure. No, Donald Trump is here, around here, is in the White House. Okay, so the Fed is going to keep raising rates, or keep rates higher than zero. Okay, because they discovered that zero interest rate policy doesn't work. And another thing that people don't realize is that zero interest rate policy seemed to create some cosmetic growth, but it created a lot of inequality. And now people are talking about inequality. Who made money? Those people you see out there in the restaurants in Miami overpaying for microscopic sushi. You can see it on the plate. So all these people, the people who made money, it created inequality because we had an asset-based inflation. All these years, assets were inflating like crazy. It's like a tumor, I think, is the best explanation, because that's typically what happened to organisms. You're happy with the growth, but it's uncontrolled growth, and then boom. Our strategy at Universa does not depend on what we think of the stock market. So it doesn't change whether Brandon believes that it's going to be rosy forever, and Mark, or whatever. It doesn't, or if you think that so the strategy here is not about timing markets or environment. There's a structured policy of having geometric payoffs and the tails. But to go back to the environment, I believe that the stock market is way too overvalued for interest rates that are not 1%. So unless they miraculously bring back interest rate to 1%, which they won't be able to, you will have interest. I mean, it's unsustainable. Why should you put your money in a stock that gives you 2% dividend yield, if you're lucky, when you can get 4.75% from the bank while playing golf? Explain to me, right? So the logic, right? So this is why the stock market has to adjust to normal levels. And again, we haven't had that much growth over the past 25 years to justify this valuation. So it's just there. I think the problem is beyond inflation. The problem is the structure of the modern world in which we live. The structure of the modern world is overreactive because we are, the world is getting more efficient because of globalization. So it's more reactive. You sell, say, 100 million year one, and 100 million year two. Okay, the prices are going to be stable. But if you sell 0 year one and 200 million year two, you're going to have a huge explosion in prices. Because if you don't sell anything, things shrink, and they shrink rapidly, capacity shrinks rapidly, and then you have burst. So you have good news and bad news. The bad news is that things react very quickly. Look at what happened, how fast that these prices adjusted up after the recovery post-COVID. But so the best of bad news, the good news is that all these squeezes resolve in gluts, and this is much faster than in the past. So let me give you an example. 1973, those of you who, not many were even toddlers then. Anyway, so 1973, there was an oil embargo. So you had a complete change of structure to accommodate higher oil prices. It took till 1981, 2, 3 for oil prices to become soft, and then eventually collapsed, and it destroyed the Soviet Union. Cars used to be, you could have this party in one car, and then they shrank dramatically, but it took a while. Today, the adjustment for Germany took 1 year. Putin played his game on Germany, thinking it was 1973, and look, I am, the Pasha. How long it took? 9 months later, you had a glut of gas, natural gas. So the adjustments are much faster today. The price of containers goes up dramatically, and then suddenly energy and stuff. So it's bicycles, we had a shortage when COVID came, and guess what? Now you try to buy a bicycle, they give you 2 with it, So you have these things. So this is why I think that we may have some softening in many prices, maybe not immediately labor, but doesn't solve the problem. We still will have interest rates higher than 2 or 3%, and we have to go back now to the real world. I think we may have a collapse in many prices. But I mean, I don't want to talk about inflation because it's a naive term. What is inflation? If it's the cost of goods and services. Now, how do you weigh them? Okay. You see what's your inflation may be different than mine. The price of wine has gone down because of so my inflation is, I have deflation for my goods. You may have inflation for your goods, depending on what you're. So when I wrote a paper on Bitcoin, when people say, or inflation, I said, it depends on some individuals. It depends on preferences. It is unstable and has other problems like being short volatility because your basket changes all the time. So, but overall, housing is going to be cheaper. Lumber would be cheaper if you're into lumber, all right? A lot of stuff would be cheaper. Commodities would be cheaper. But interest rates will not be zero because they can't. And then there is also a problem here. This debt, all this debt floating around, how does it disappear?
How does it disappear?
It disappears with the old-fashioned way, with a company calling up the creditor, telling them, listen, we have to have a conversation. Okay, it's called restructuring. So you're going to have a pressure on, and a company has merchandise, they're going to have to find a buyer, and then they call up people. Some in the room here may be able to buy them. So you're going to have a depression in some prices.
So that's just the question, because we have not seen the default cycle pick up yet. We have not seen companies face bankruptcy in the wake of any of the economic
that's
pressures.
We're talking about bleeding. Now they're losing a drop of blood every say 12 minutes, a drop of blood. And then we have a long weekend coming and stuff like that. So add these things up and you see what's going to happen.
So, you mentioned a couple here things. The price of some goods will come down, but not all. You've mentioned the idea of wealth inequality being created. So, and you've mentioned the idea that certain equities will come back to reality. So at the end of the day, what is the net effect on the economy?
The net effect, we're going to have normal markets. The road to get there will be very painful for some. And not us, of course, but it will be very painful for people who are not into tail risk hedging. That's a reality. So I don't know how we'll get there, but as you know, markets, they have mood swings. I see that. I see people panicking all the time on Bloomberg TV, trying to tell you it's all okay, it's all going to be okay. So you're going to have a lot of these people showing up to say, oh, it's all going to be fine, all right? So in other words, things won't be fine for a while. The situation today, and Mark has pointed it out, we have more debt than we ever did in history. We have the weirdest valuations in history, and we have a lot more connectivity than we did before. So add these things up and realize that, hey, you know what? Disneyland is over. The children go back to school, and then make sure you're home. So now we're going to go back to the real world.
So I'm going to do.
So how? What? I mean, of course, it's not going to be all bad. It's fine. Enjoy your drink, but it's not going to be as smooth as it was for the last 15 years.